All right, guys, so once again, we got to talk about a Democrat lunatic who snapped and killed somebody. A story that we seem to be hearing all too often in today's society, right? I wonder why the mainstream liberal media, MSNBC, CNN, why they're not covering this and asking, are Democrats being radicalized in this country to commit violent acts against people? Because I think that we should have a conversation about it, right? I'm just saying. But the only reason I'm actually mentioning the political affiliation of the suspected murderer in this case is because of the absolutely insane Trump derangement syndrome reaction from a so-called journalist when it came time to ask questions about why this murder happened. So I want to talk about that. But before I get into that, I want to just let you guys know. My name is Greg Foreman, and if you like my channel and you want to support my channel, you can check out my merch, my donkeypox shirts, the disease that is affecting America, or my hashtag no days off / hard work patriotic t-shirts, or my MAGA hub shirts. There are plenty of cool merch at my website, gforemanbcp.com, for you guys to check out. Get 20% off using discount code gforemanbcp. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll this clip about Clark County Public Administrator, Mr. Robert Tellis, who's also a Democrat, murdering a Las Vegas investigative journalist by the name of Jeff Gorman. Take a look.
The Clark County official accused of stabbing a reporter to death will be back in court tomorrow for his arraignment. Public Administrator Robert Tellis, on the right, has now been formally charged with the murder of newspaper journalist Jeff German.
In the criminal complaint filed today, we also learned that the district attorney added new deadly weapon charges and older person enhancements because German was 69 years old.
And new details are being revealed about the moments surrounding German's death.
Fox 5's Drew Andre live outside the Regional Justice Center to break down these new details for us.
Well, the arrest report details the evidence that investigators came up with. That includes surveillance footage that shows the murder and why they believe it was premeditated. Police say investigative reporter Jeff German was found nearly 24 hours after his death near the site of his home, and investigators believe they know how the attack was planned out. The report says County Public Administrator Robert Tellis' phone was left at home when they allege he drove to German's house to kill him. They say Tellis' wife couldn't get a hold of him during that time that Friday morning. Investigators say surveillance showed the suspect arrive and walk to the side of German's home. German came out of his garage a few minutes later, and the person wearing the reflective shirt and big straw hat attacked him immediately. The report says German suffered stab wounds to his torso and neck. Investigators say Tellis' DNA was found under German's fingernails.
You know, I make my opinions on strengths and weaknesses of case on the evidence, and the evidence at this point is quite compelling.
After police released a suspect vehicle last Tuesday, they received calls at the GMC in Tellis' driveway that matched the description. Police say Tellis was seen washing his car a short time after the photo was released. Tellis holds an elected position as public administrator. Records show he makes about $120,000 a year. Following reports of personnel issues in the office that German detailed in his reporting, the county says the decision was made to no longer have staff report to Mr. Tellis, and the solution will be in place until the public elects a new public administrator in November.
Yeah, so it sounds like to me that there are definitely a lot more questions than answers when it comes to the motivations behind this guy killing this journalist. But I think it's obvious that this was something that was probably motivated by the fact that this journalist was a whistleblower in regards to some of the shady things that was going on at this guy's office, which caused the county to not have people work on him anymore, which meant that he probably was likely to lose his job. So he probably got upset about that and retaliated out of revenge. That sounds like to me to be the plausible, most likely explanation just based off listening to that news clip and the facts of the story that we have right now, okay? But hey, I'm not a journalist though, right? I'm just some dude on the internet. A journalist who's trained and educated thought that no, it can't be that, right? It can't be that. It must have something to do with Trump.
Now is probably not the appropriate time to talk politics, but do you condemn...
So why are we talking politics then?
Do you condemn former President Trump's normalization of violence against journalists?
No, I think this is probably the inappropriate venue to speculate on that or opine on that. I think it needs to be stated and noted that it is troublesome because it is a journalist, and we expect journalism to be open and transparent and a watchdog for government. And when people take it upon themselves to create harm associated with that profession, I think it's very important that we put all eyes on and address the case appropriately, such as we did in this case.
Yeah, so for those of you who didn't quite hear the very silly question that this journalist asked, she said, do you condemn Trump's normalization of violence against journalists? As if that has anything to do with this homicide/murder investigation. Again, somebody make it make sense. I don't know how you get to this one, right? I don't know how you extrapolate this one, okay? I've seen some ass pulls, and this might want to be one of the greatest ass pulls of all time here, okay? So let me see if I can mental gymnastics my way around this logic here. Are you saying that somehow, some way, a Democrat was motivated by Trump's normalization of violence against journalists? Whatever that is, we really don't know. Give me some examples of Trump actually encouraging violence against journalists. I'm not sure if you can find any, but if you can, send them to me. We're supposed to believe that a Democrat was motivated by Trump to go and kill a journalist. Really? Really? Again, this is why people don't like journalists. This is why the journalist profession is more disrespected than ever before, because these people do not deserve respect, because they are partisan propagandists. That's what they are. This is a propaganda question from a so-called journalist with a personal agenda, right? This is what this is. Let's ignore the fact this person was a Democrat, which would be irrelevant. It would be completely irrelevant if this journalist did not ask this question. But let's ignore the fact this person is a Democrat, and let's just blame Trump. Let's somehow, some way, find a way to tie it back to Trump. So anytime a journalist gets killed in this country, right, according to the line of questioning from this journalist, right, we got to ask questions about if it's Trump's fault, right? But when it comes to a left-winger, a liberal, we talked about this story the other day, killing somebody because they think that the kid, okay, we're talking about a kid here, teenager. A teenager is a Republican extremist. After Joe Biden labeled what he deems to be MAGA Republican extremists, domestic terror threats, right, enemies of democracy, along with mainstream media like MSNBC, we don't need to ask any questions about that, right? Don't ask any questions about whether or not those two things are related, because if I had to guess, I would bet my life savings that killing that involved a liberal killing a guy because he thought he was a Republican extremist has more to do with Biden's rhetoric and the rhetoric on MSNBC than Trump has to do with this killing right here of a Democrat killing an investigative journalist. I am 100% sure that's the case. Yeah, I'll bet my life savings on that. But this big brain journalist really thinks it's appropriate to blame Trump, or to attempt to blame Trump, to put Trump's name as a part of the conversation. Wow, incredible stuff. Again, and I think it's 100% to deflect from the fact that this person is a Democrat. This is a Democrat that went out and murdered somebody. Again, we've seen a lot of violence coming from people who happen to be on the left side of the aisle. Does that mean that all Democrats are violent? No. But I'm just saying, I think it's appropriate that we ask some questions. We got to start asking questions about radicalized Democrats. I think that's fair. Because anything that happens that's not even really associated with the right, anything that the left can even remotely try to relate to the right, they always say, well, Fox News needs to answer for this, right? Trump needs to answer for this. Okay, just like this situation right here. Just like what happened with the Buffalo mass shooting, in which the guy who in his manifesto said, I don't like Fox News, I hate Fox News, okay? He said that he was a left-wing authoritarian, basically. Mainstream media says, no, he's right-wing, right? He listened to Tucker Carlson. He was bought into replacement theory, which he got from Tucker Carlson. No evidence whatsoever. Okay, now you got a Democrat that murders an investigative journalist, and this journalist is like, is this Trump's fault? Right? Is this Trump's fault? But again, it absolutely blows my mind, guys. This is why the profession of journalism has now become a joke. This is why guys like me can get on the internet and just start covering the news, talking about the news, and we can get millions of views because people like these journalists right here, they're no longer respected. People don't trust them anymore, right? These people, mainstream liberal media, how overtly biased they are, has been the biggest help to people like me in the world. They are what keep people like me going, right? This is why people come to alternative media, because of this right here, because this line of questioning. But again, in this situation right here, I think that it is much more likely, considering the fact and the evidence that we have for this case, that this had more to do with revenge than it had to do with Trump. But hey, what do I know? Again, I'm just some guy on the internet. I am not a trained journalist. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.